So, of all the congressional districts in South Carolina where you might see a competitive race, you got to look at the first congressional district down in South Carolina's Lowcountry. This is the seat, of course, held currently by Nancy Mace, who's currently running for governor. But an open field for this seat has come on the radar, and we are sitting down with one of the gentlemen who was campaigning for that seat, Jay Byars, Dorchester County Councilman from Somerville. I got to ask you a question, Jay.
Yes, sir.
We've got toxicity in politics like never before.
Oh, yeah.
We got a $38 trillion debt.
Yeah.
Congress can't even declare war anymore. That's basically been taken over by the executive.
Sure.
Why in the hell would anybody, including you, want to run for Congress right now?
I get that question at least once a week, if not once a day. I got a lot of people locally that are like, man, you're doing a great job here on Dorchester County Council. Why do you want to go get in that mess? And a couple of things. I think we're at an inflection point in America where we need people who actually, one, know what they're doing and they've actually had some policy experience, but who can have a conversation and go up and actually get work done. You watch it as much as I do. I mean, it's not about selfie videos and clicks on media, although that seems to be the case for some people. But we need to be able to get in the work done of the people to make our lives better at home. After 15 years on Dorchester County Council, I have two complaints on Dorchester County Council, the General Assembly of South Carolina and the federal government. Our roads take way too long to get permitted. They take too long to build. We're not getting enough money from D.C. And I think those are some of the things that I can go up there and actually help the first district because I've already been doing the work on the ground. I am not interested in the drama. I'm not interested in the cocktail parties. I'm not going up there for the social life if I were to win. I want to go up there and get some work done to make our state better and our district better because we desperately need it, especially in District 1. We're vastly underfunded in infrastructure. It takes years to get things permitted, which means it costs tens and hundreds of millions more to build roads. Those are things we need to be able to getting done at the federal level, and we're just not getting it done right now.
So it's worth the insanity and the indignity of being a member of Congress?
That's a really good question. I mean, because I love the job I have now. I really
Yeah.
do. We're doing some great stuff, and it's very difficult for me to think about leaving that. But if we don't step up when I feel like we're called, then I think we're wasting our talents. And I think I've gotten a lot of experience in life to be able to take to the table to see if I can make it better. That's what I'm going to do.
And you've done a lot of work on infrastructure in one of the fastest growing counties in South Carolina. There's a boom down there
Oh, yeah.
in Somerville, in and around that whole area. And obviously, you've been key in some of those infrastructure enhancements.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. When you look at all of the problems with South Carolina's infrastructure, whether it's the interstates, whether it's the back roads, the rural roadways, where have we gone wrong in our infrastructure prioritization?
Hmm.
How do we, whether it's at the federal, state, local level,
Yeah.
how do we start prioritizing need over
Yeah.
politics when it comes to our roads?
So I've made this argument, and we have not adequately funded roads and infrastructure in South Carolina since the 80s. And when I was growing up in Spartanburg County, I mean, getting traffic to us at that point was getting caught behind a cotton gin riding down the road trying to get to church. It is very different now. But if you go and you look at our current fuel tax in South Carolina, our fuel tax is 28.75 cents a gallon for fuel. Georgia is 33.7 cents a gallon, and North Carolina is 40.7 cents a gallon. And all you have to do is drive across the state line on any road, and you immediately know you left South Carolina because the roads immediately get better. I don't think we funded them correctly for the last 40 years. I think that's been an issue. And now we're so far behind that the current fuel tax that the General Assembly passed a couple of years back, most of that's going towards rural infrastructure issues, safety issues, and the interstates, because we really haven't done any interstate work in a long time. So 26 is going to be going on, according to Justin Powell, who used to work for us. He's great. For the next 10 years. 85 work's getting done up in Rock Hill. They're just not, or not Rock Hill, Gaffney in that area, just now finishing. 95 is going to take forever. These are things that, because we haven't done the job at the state level for the last 40 years, and really even the federal level too, we've had misplaced spending priorities. I think that's really put us behind. And now with COVID, everybody figured out that South Carolina is a place that you can, come live and work, and you don't have to wear a mask back when everything was crazy. People are moving here. And the local governments, we only have so many tools in the toolbox that we can solve those problems with. We've done our part in Dorchester as far as the local sales tax, but that's not enough. When we've got right now, today, $2.5 billion worth of road needs just in Dorchester County, and our one penny transportation tax will raise us $700 million in 15 years, Even though I went to Clemson, that math don't math. We've got to be able to make up that gap, and that's where the state comes in. They've got to be able to do their part, and I think they're still falling short. But the feds are falling short too. We're spending money on things like just wasting money overseas, or we're wasting money on programs and departments where we need to go back and put that money into infrastructure because this state desperately needs it.
When you mentioned a moment ago some of the projects that are underway that are finally starting a little bit of work on I-26 down near the Georgia border, or I'm sorry, I-95
Right,
on the Georgia border. Obviously, the big interchange up near Greenville on 385 and 85 that was long overdue, and
right.
certainly you mentioned the malfunction junction work here in
Mhm.
the Midlands region of the state. But if we look at population trends, you were just talking about them. South Carolina poised to be one of the top destinations in the coming half century. I believe it's uh, 15th nationally in terms of the total number of people coming
Yeah.
here, 13th nationally in terms of the percentage above our current population coming here.
Oh, yeah.
So if we are decades behind on infrastructure with that kind of influx en route, how does that math?
Whew, alright, we're gonna go down a rabbit hole here.
Please.
I mean, because I talk to constituents about this all the time. We don't have a growth problem because everybody's having more babies. We have a growth problem because everybody's moving here because they figured out South Carolina's a great place to be, and they either don't like the weather where they were, or they don't like the politics where they were. One or two things. And that, we've got to be I think the state could do a better job of trying to manage the growth from a standpoint of let's not make it so easy for people to move here. Like when we're given huge tax breaks or homestead exemption to seniors, if you paid property taxes in Pittsburgh your entire life and you paid for all those EMS stations and fire stations, and we can move down here immediately and get taxes that are 20% of what they were up there, and we're going to give you a homestead exemption for moving here. We're making it really easy to come down here, and there's no investment in the infrastructure whatsoever. So that's something I think we could figure out. I'm not sure what the path is on it, but, people want us to pass moratoriums at the local level, and that sounds great, except it's already unaffordable for young kids coming out of college right now to be able to buy housing in the first place. Economics 101, if you cut off the available supply and the demand's still there, prices go up, and that just makes that worse. So I do think like the Greenville Spartanburg area where I'm from originally and the low country that growth is there, even Columbia, Rock Hill, all the major MSAs are experiencing it because it's a great place to live. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're trying to take care of our people at home. And I think that the state could look at some things that we fund things better from the road standpoint, and they're going to have to fund roads more. I realize that they can't get contractors there's not enough contractors to do all the interstate work. But if they get more funding that they can send down to the locals, then we can go fix interchanges with smaller contractors and get some congestion moving because we're also seeing economic development starting to slow up because we're getting a reputation nationally and internationally as being a state that's just congested all the time. And that's not what we want to be, nor is it good for quality of life.
Well, you're a Clemson guy. I'm a Carolina guy. If we start talking about the need to fund certain things more, let me ask you this question. Why are we continuing to subsidize woke indoctrination at both of our alma maters, spending for salaries and pensions for
Yeah.
professors of you know, transsexual Sanskrit studies? I mean, why don't we put that money,
Yeah.
privatize those universities, put that money into the roads?
Whew. I don't know what the numbers are on that, if it would make sense, although I will agree with you that, I'm not sure that in this day and age, tenure makes sense at public universities. I mean, why are you guaranteed a job just because you publish in some obscure, unknown journal that nobody reads except the 3 people in your department? Having gone to grad school at University of Georgia and got my master's, I know how that works. I mean, you're getting published and you're getting paid for being published, but it doesn't mean you know the job at all. Like my master's degree, great professors, none of them ever did the job. I think you can teach a lot better that way. So we need to look at that. I'm not sure that that would fix the road issue, although I do think that we certainly need to look at the tenure issue and at hiring professors. If you go through and your entire directory in a department is 95% Democratic, or even if it was 95% Republican, we're not getting a balance, and our kids need to be exposed to a balance. And I think that that's something in our public universities that we certainly could do a better job of with the board of trustees at each one.
What about a board of regents at the statewide level?
I think that could work, but I think at the end of the day, I think both you and I would, well, I don't want to speak for you. I would prefer that Clemson manages Clemson and we don't get managed the same way that Francis Marion or South Carolina gets managed. I think that they're different mission sets. I mean, Clemson was created as an agricultural or mechanical school. It was created for agriculture and engineering. We've of course morphed into more, but I think that an individual board of people who understand that or understand USC and Columbia, I think that that's important to have some local governance who's invested in that university.
Do you think the current crop of leaders in South Carolina, and I'm talking all of them, local, General Assembly,
Mhm.
members of Congress,
Mhm.
executive, are they equipped to handle the challenges we face as a state? Fundamentally, do you believe that we have the right people in office to deal with the challenges we face as a state?
Mm. So I'll say this unapologetically. I've complained for years. I think individually we have some good people that get elected to the legislature. And then collectively they go up there and just make some of the dumbest decisions you've ever seen from a policy standpoint. Act 388 for us was terrible. I think that was a bad policy decision. And you look at how you take all of the operations on school operating and you remove it from homeowners. Who puts kids in schools? Homeowners. But we removed that. Okay. At the time, I just did. I think I was one of the few people that voted against it because it was on a referendum because I was still teaching at that time. But it adversely affects and it puts everything on the commercial. So we struggle with commercial in the low country to be able to attract that. So I think sometimes that we've got people that actually make decisions based on what a lobbyist is pushing or what maybe leadership is pushing, and it may or may not really be in the best interest if you get down to the granular level at our level on the local level of good governance, and it's easy to get distracted. I think we got some good people in those offices, but I don't always agree with their decisions.
Let me ask it to you this way. We've obviously got a representative in the first district seat right now that everyone knows, campaigning for governor, has
Okay.
been
Mhm.
very aggressive media wise and ginning up a lot of different headlines all over the place. Prior to her, the last Republican in that office was former Governor Mark Sanford.
Mhm.
And obviously, there were two iterations of Mark Sanford. There was the first
Yep.
time he was in Congress
Yep.
before he was governor, where he was damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. And then there was the second version of Mark Sanford, who was a little more go along to get along.
Yeah.
As you look at those kind of leadership styles from folks who've held that seat in the past, where would you see you falling in terms of your approach
Yeah.
if you get that office?
Well, I think I'm very different in my methodology for getting results than our current occupant. I am a bridge builder. I pick up the phone and call to try to get things done. I listen to my constituents, and it's not under threat of whatever. I mean, we're going to try to build a coalition to make things happen, which is how we've been successful building roads in Dorchester County. We built our first ever county parks in Dorchester County, 2 new libraries, past conservation funding, and you do that because, 1, you listen to your constituents with what they want, and then 2, you know how to build coalitions, and that's really what I do, and I do well. I enjoy working with people. I'm a teamwork guy. I just wanna win. I don't want it to be about me. I wanna win, and I don't care who gets the credit. So, when you look at that versus what we currently seem to see, I'm not really worried about that. I think you get more results with honey than with vinegar. And I think if you go up there and you work with people to get things for your district, you're going to get a lot more wins for the hometown folks, which is my whole reason for going. I'm not interested in going up and voting no against everything. I'm going to unapologetically fight to bring resources back to District 1. We need the money to build roads and interchanges that we're not currently getting. We need to get those things back. And we need to protect what that district is.
So the field you're up against is already fairly big
Hmm.
and growing.
Yes.
There's a state representative, Mark Smith.
Hmm.
There is a very decorated military leader,
Hmm.
Alex Pelbath.
Yes.
We've also got Jenny Honeycutt,
Hmm.
former, or actually current Charleston
She's
County
on. That's
Councilwoman.
right.
Yeah, she's looking at running, hasn't announced yet, but
Yep.
we're hearing she may jump in. Logan Cunningham potentially jumping into this race.
Mhm.
Several others. Sam McCown, obviously, plenty of personal resources he could bring to bear
Sure. Yep.
on his candidacy. As you look at this prospective field that's still aligning, and we're obviously a long way away from the
Yep.
filing in March of next year, but where do you see the challenges for you? Where do you see the opportunities for you with the field that's currently assembled?
Oh, that's a great question. Challenges, I think you've got some folks that are willing to put in and self fund. And that's not something Jay Byers is doing because I got two kids at Clemson. They're both girls. They're going to need weddings. We're going to be spending a lot of money over the next 10
You will
years
not be
on other
self-funding.
things. No, we will not be
Correct.
self funding. So we're going to do it the old fashioned way. We're going to go out and earn it. And I think that's just, what I've already seen is everybody's like, money, 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 money. And yes, you have to raise money. I think where I actually am going to be able to excel is proven results that are tangible that you can point to over the last 15 years with Dorchester County. We've gotten things done because I know how to work with people, whether it's building roads, building parks, building libraries, but still keeping property taxes low. Those are things that I think I can come to the table with. But also, my background as a public school teacher. My first 5 years, I was teaching high school at Somerville, DuBose Middle School, teaching science, coaching baseball. That, along with being a small business owner for the last 20 years, I have a broad base of perspective to understand and be able to relate to a lot of different people. And I think there's certainly not everybody's going to have that same perspective that I do. And I think that's going to really resonate well.
You scrupulously avoided making no negative comments about anyone in that field. Very well done.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I like all of them. I mean, everybody that I know, I don't know everybody yet. I think that you mentioned a name that I'm not sure of now. I know Jenny well, but like we had a forum last night in Beaufort with those guys. Good guys. I think everybody's wanting to serve for the right reasons so far from what I've
Mhm.
seen. And so, yeah, I don't have anything negative to say. I'm gonna talk about me and
Yeah.
what I can do.
Well, let's talk about the next race, assuming you win the Republican nomination. Obviously, that would be a big deal.
Yeah.
This is a seat that is solid R, according to most of the indices out there, but it is sliding a little bit back
Yes, sir.
toward that toss-up category. I believe it's an R plus 6 now on the Cook PVI, that indicator
I think
that
that's right.
maps the districts. It was a 7 in the last cycle, so starting to tilt a little bit back toward the center. Do you believe that the Republican candidate for this general election, what kind of case do you think they need to make in a district where, again, it's changing every day, people coming in every day, as you
Hmm.
say, not all of them necessarily from red states?
Yeah.
What kind of case does the Republican nominee need to make to the people of the first district to keep the seat in the red?
I think you need to do the job the way I've been doing it for the last 15 years. I appeal to a lot of people in the middle. I mean, my whole way of working is talk to people. And when you look at a Republican who's a conservative Republican, but I'm a guy that supports public schools because I taught in them. I understand that. I'm a guy that understands that we do need to invest our local revenue, tax revenue into our own community to make it better. People move to Charleston because they want to be in Charleston, but they live in Somerville because they can't afford Mount Pleasant. Well, we don't want to have to drive to Mount Pleasant to do nice things. So we build parks at home, we build libraries at home, so we've got resources 5 minutes from the house. Those are things that mean you got to spend a little bit of money. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to talk to people. Some of my best friends from grad school are bleeding heart liberals. We think very, very differently, and we can argue about stuff and still go get a beer and a pizza afterwards. You got to be able to do that. And in this day and age, I think people are looking to get rid of the drama and looking for someone to get results. And at the end of the day, my 15 years, I can point to very tangible results. We've won 3 different referendums to be able to get things done because we listened to our constituents and we actually got out and led and led unapologetically for what they asked for. You look at Charleston County, they just lost the referendum by 2-1. We've won ours by 2-1 for transportation. And I think that's just a difference in trust. People have to be able to trust you. And from that standpoint, electing the right person in the Republican ticket who already works well with everybody, I think is going to be very important for making sure that we actually, win that seat. And that's something category I feel very comfortable with.
Agreed. I think general election, you make probably one of the better candidates in this field.
Thank you.
But do you believe the Republican primary electorate is looking for bridge building, looking for people willing to listen, looking for people looking to reach across the aisle? That's become
Yeah.
such a dirty term these days. It almost feels like they're looking for the opposite. And some of the initial success
Yeah.
Nancy Mace has had has been exploiting that, is it not?
I would agree with you to an extent. I think that in District 1, there's a lot of folks that are looking to just get the results that they're looking for. Now, that being said, let's be honest, the current Democratic Party is not the party of JFK. there is definitely a Marxist, anti-American contingency there that you've got to be prepared to fight against, which I am totally prepared for that. But when you were talking about moderate Democrats who just like Fetterman, look at when he first got elected, I was like, good Lord, this guy's crazy. Now it's like, okay, that's a guy you could work with because he seems to be reasonable. Guys like that, we need to be able to work with those guys. We should be working for the American public. Not everybody's going to think the way I do. Okay, respect their viewpoints, but still vote for what you value. But I do think that there's a pretty large contingency that's looking more at results and less at fighting with our neighbors. And if we can start having those conversations and agree to disagree and be able to talk through things, we've got way more in common as Americans than we do have differences. And I have found over the years, and I tell people also, you can solve a whole lot of problems over a plate of barbecue. And that has been my mantra forever. I mean, we got some things done at a local fire district where, they were just Old Fort Fire Department was running out of funds. They were not going to be able to survive. I called the chairman up, was like, let's go get some barbecue at Swig and Swine. We merged them into the county fire department, because you don't ever want to go against firefighters. I mean, you got to work with them and you want to take care of them. And we did. You can get a lot of things done just sitting down at a table and having a conversation.
Well, I certainly hope if you're traveling back and forth on 26 a lot up to Clemson from the Lowcountry, I do hope you're familiar with Farm Boy and you stop at Farm Boy in Chapin and get some of that mustard base. If
Uh,
you're a barbecue man, you will not regret it, my
I
friend.
will leave here and go eat that. I
Y-
was not familiar with it, but now that I am going over there. So,
Farm Boy in Chapin, right off the
okay,
exit there off 26, man.
perfect.
Thank me later.
Yes, sir.
Jay, I appreciate you coming in, man.
Yeah.
Obviously a wild race ahead. Any parting thoughts for the voters of the first district?
I think the one thing I want to impress upon people is I plan to go up there and be a tireless advocate. I don't want to stay forever. I do believe in 12-year term limits. I think that at some point you need to turn it over to someone else. But at the end of the day, my results in Dorchester County, but not just in the county, but in the region. I've been integrally involved with Charleston Chamber of Commerce, CRDA, working as a region. And I take that same mindset up to DC. If you're in Beaufort or Hardyville, I'm going to take care of you the same way I would my backyard. And I don't think that's always been the case with our representation. So I plan on taking the same results I've gotten for 15 years and just taking it to a different level to bring resources home for us.
So, Jay, we appreciate you'll come back
Thank
in
you.
as this race heats up.
I'm glad to come anytime you invite me.
Awesome, because
Thanks
we
for
still
having me.
got a little while till we start counting
Yes,
and
sir.
start running and filing and all that good stuff. But
Yep.
Jay Byars, everybody, candidate for the first congressional district in the South Carolina Lowcountry. Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, Will.